minus.
Since there's Nokia today, reset has to be HTC, then reset is iPhone, then
Nobody is minus. Nobody we're good to go. Where am minus? Go for the ball.
I'm just fed
up. So thank you for the comments. They're wonderful.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the comments.
I'll print them out for you.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, and yeah.
Is it nice stuff?
Yeah, some stuff is deeper than what we think.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want to go deep. Yeah, we're very plain, but they kind of came back with statements that are pretty deep. Yeah, please just keep it simple for me. I had COVID, so my brain is not back yet. I think it will take 2 years.
Yeah, then the one was just flipping through the pages and,
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
But there's some pretty cool comments. I think, speaking about comments, I think there's a couple that we have to
highlight.
I don't know if I highlight them now because I know once you start going, you don't stop.
No, highlight them now so that we can incorporate them and then But
so
Chris, no, I think
Okay.
I think you need to put a disclaimer. I don't go on. I'm the quietest person here. Yeah, you just love instigating stuff and you push my buttons the wrong way, but I don't go on. I'm the quietest guy here. I'm even quieter than the producer who's behind the screen.
So 90% of the comments are directed on things that you said. So if you're the quietest person, you must be quite impactful with your few words. Which for me, I think is BS.
What did I say? Okay, all right, okay, yeah. No, so I do the highlight before we because today we need to finish that topic.
Yeah, drop in the bag too, and you're running with that. So one of them was the Eve thing. There's a lady who sent through like a 15-minute. I won't say it's a tirade, just very softly spoken, but an argument. I think you heard it as well.
That Eve knew,
yes.
And she was trying to say.
Let's debunk that quickly. Without going too far. My thoughts when I heard that, plain and simple, Eve knew. And even when she brought up her argument, there was a moment where she said Eve was not in denial of wrongdoing. That's knowledge, right? That's knowing what you've done.
Yeah.
So you knew that.
Because she ate it first.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Plain and simple. Eve knew. Case closed. That's the reply. There was a guy who had proven. I don't know if we ever put it together, but I wanted to debunk it as quickly as possible. When two become one. I know you want to do it as a topic later, but I want to kill it right now.
Right.
I think his question was, how do you correlate in what we have brought up in the last podcast? And he says, but surely in the Bible, it says two become one. And you know what's the running theme in most of the other comments that come up? Is just that the Bible said. And I think the Bible says, but interpretations are different.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think...
that's what it is, and I think we'll do one podcast where we can say interpretations are based on certain things.
Yeah, they are
nurture.
Denomination, how you culture, how you grew up,
exactly,
and the agenda that's being pushed to keep you in a loop.
Exactly, I think that's the biggest one.
Yeah,
the agenda that's being pushed.
Spiritual interpretations are very different.
Yes.
In relation to like what we just said, how you grew up and what you are experiencing.
Exactly, and at that moment, what could be very important to you? I think that gentleman who brought up that statement was probably getting married or is married.
Yeah.
And I think his biggest turmoil was, I got a way of thinking, she's got a way of thinking. How am I bringing that together as one?
But that's the thing. It reminded, because I was listening to some of the podcasts that we did way back and how I was shouting at you. Actually, no, it wasn't the way back. It was the one we did just now. That was released.
You're shouting at me, huh?
The Jelly Babies one.
Okay.
And one of the issues that came about was there comes a point in time where somebody creates a definition on behalf of someone else. Mm-hmm. And so you don't have a collective definition.
Yes.
And because you don't have a collective definition,
You're
that
lost.
whole issue of two becoming one generally means two people focus on one thing.
Yes.
That's it. You are allowed to have different perspectives.
Yes.
But you build the one thing. And most people want to then superimpose their mindset on someone else and say, then you must be one. Think like me. No. Then you asked me a question last week, 2 weeks ago, when you said, why is it that sometimes you speak to one individual here, one party of the couple, and say something, and they'll respond almost exactly the same as when you speak to the next person, maybe a K away.
It must be like that, yes.
If you are focused on one thing, when somebody asks you a question, you'll answer that question in relation to what you're focused to, so your mindset will be the same. But it's not that the two. That's what it means by the two shall become one.
Exactly.
Full stop.
Yeah. You become singular in thought and result.
Because of, what do you like saying? Finality.
Thank you.
There needs to be an end result.
Yes.
To a certain project, a certain
goal,
mindset.
achievement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what the two shall become one is all
Cool.
about.
That's enough of that.
Yeah, before we
We delve into it and they start loving it. So let's get back into it. You're going to try and debunk dropping the bag too. I went on quite a bit. I was drinking a lot of
quite
water
a
then.
bit,
Yes.
Chris. You took more than half of that. I listened to it. You just went on.
It was quite eloquently put, unlike your ranting and raving at the end of it, where you get quite emotional and you want
I
to
don't
jump off.
rant, Chris.
You
I
should
don't
see him. He
rant.
grabs the mic and he stands up and he's all over the place.
Chris, I don't rant.
Season 2, we're doing
I just
video.
bring it down. Oh yeah, no, let's leave some video for season 3. Let's deal with the call-ins and the guests first, and then
That's definitely what we're going to do next season.
Yeah,
Bring in the guests.
Oh, that would
I think
be
I got
so
3
great.
people who want to come into it. Actually, there are mostly women, actually, and the other guys. I think so. So we actually could get 13 guests coming in.
I think we need to do that.
Yeah.
We need to do that. But season 2 is going to get people wanting to discuss what we did in season 1.
Yes, and we're fed up with that, most of that stuff. So we have a count of everything else.
Oh, yeah, true that.
I actually don't think they'll go longer because everybody's complaining that, some people are complaining that it's long. I think in a week, and you're listening to something for 2 hours, you just give yourself 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's either we do 13 episodes of an hour and a half or 45 episodes of 15, 20 minutes. My gosh, Chris, you go forever. But anyway.
Yes, I do. And I think because a lot of things have got to be talked about. I think we're too scared not to talk about it. So dropping the bag too. Go.
Dropping the bag too. I was doing a lot of thinking afterwards.
And this bird keeps quacking in the background here.
I tell you, somebody needs to drop that bag. When we finished recording Dropping the Bag 1, a lot of things came to the fore in relation to how people are managing their business. When I say their business, let's get expletive for a bit. How people are dealing with their shit.
Okay.
How they're coping with their pressures, how they're coping with what they feel are their failings.
Mm-hmm.
How I'm going to try and round everything off now, because
Yeah.
you told me that I should just go. I only have an hour.
45 minutes.
Now it's 30. So I'm going to incorporate a lot of the two shall become one.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a lot about the yardstick protocol.
Okay.
And the suddenly phenomenon.
Okay.
For those that have no clue what we're talking about, if you're just joining the podcast, dropping the bag is just a polite way of saying you're fed up and you just what's the word we use when we're growing up? Throwing all your toys out of the cot. But this is literally not throwing the toys out. This is literally removing dead skin, removing dead flesh, getting rid of unnecessary junk in the trunk.
Yes.
That's what dropping the bag is all about. Dropping the bag is when you get to a point where you're fed up with a situation
Yes.
and you just move on. Now, Chris, 2 weeks ago, or the last time we had the recording, Chris just brought it about. He said it in such a way that it is a very easy thing to do, to drop the bag. Just drop the thing and move on. And you made it sound so easy. Could you just drop the bag?
It is.
Just drop the bag. But this is what I want to bring about. And I'm really excited. Now I can say this. For those that will appreciate what I'm saying, just drop a comment, and like. And when Chris says something, just ignore. But dropping the bag, now I need to start from scratch for those that are just joining in. In life, everybody's got something that they define themselves as. In how you're conditioned how you grew up, and the things that you brought upon yourself that allowed you to define yourself, that allowed you to then define destiny. Not a destiny changing moment, but for you to define your destiny. And did you mention in the last time that destiny changing and destiny defining are two different things?
We did.
Yeah. So when you are living life, you are defining a destiny.
Okay.
And then when you get to a situation, i.e. a job, or you are settling with a particular individual, I'm not going to say settling down because that's another podcast altogether. Why is it people settle down and they don't just settle for? Because settling down is derogatory. and negative because you don't settle down. If you're settling down, that means there's certain things that you're not going to aim for. But that's another podcast. Anyway, I was doing a lot of thinking.
Yes,
so,
you were.
so when you decide to settle, or you decide to get married, or you want to get that job, or you're going to go for your MBA or your PhD, you are then that's a destiny defining situation.
Okay.
And when not destiny changing, because you're altering your course of direction, your what's that word that I loved using? Your projection of emotions. You are changing that immediately. And so what happens when you change your projection of emotions and you change your destiny, you begin to do things that are going to define that destiny. And as you're moving to define the destiny, the people that you're walking with or walking amongst, they're going to present certain mindsets, certain ideologies. They're going to present personas that will try and not shake you, but try and see how resolute you are in the destiny in which you're willing to change and how much you want to define yourself. And so there's certain things that you're going to pick up as baggage to accommodate whatever they're saying. Because in highlight of what you said the last time, you said sometimes people pick up bags in order to have an identity.
Yes.
And so for you to fit into a certain scenario, there's certain bags that you're going to pick up. And when I say scenario, it's not like when you're going to a pub or you're going to a party or you're even going to, it's got to do with whether you work, at home, you're married with children, significant other. You're always going to pick up things that they're going to present to you that will annoy you, but you're willing to accommodate. Yeah?
Okay.
So you're going to pick those things up.
Okay.
And you're going to continue picking up. And I'm going to say this now for those that are going to listen to this, because Chris and I are guys, born guys, still are guys. Most of the things we're going to discuss are from a guy's perspective. And
don't
so,
apologize.
Yeah, no, I'm putting a disclaimer because I don't want to then say, yeah, but the same thing for women. No, yeah, we can talk about that later when you drop a comment. But for now, as guys, we begin to bring these things about.
Yes.
We begin to carry some of these things. It's irrelevant. Oh, she squeezes toothpaste in the middle. It's irrelevant. You're still brushing teeth.
Yeah. But when somebody notices those sort of little quirks and stuff, isn't it because there's a bigger issue in the background?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's certain things that you just pick up when you're starting off.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, squeezes toothpaste there. Oh, it's mine. Oh, it's cute.
Okay.
I'm
going to call them red flags, but okay.
Yeah. It's your mic. You got the nice mic.
Yes, I do.
So you say whatever. So, it's cute. And they pick that up. Or doesn't leave his shoes on the side. Why is he leaving them there? Why don't you just put them in the cupboard?
Yes.
Or, why is she using my charger? It's cute. Oh, whatever. You just pick those little things up.
Yeah.
And then when something major comes about, something that affects your train of thinking, your mindset, your train of thought, you tend to, so frustrating. And because you have let so many other things slide.
Yeah.
The word that I really love using,
Oh gosh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They've become too familiar with your silence that what they have done now that's affecting your psyche, they don't see it as an issue because you've been letting the other things go. The toothpaste, the shoes, the use of your charger, the use of your car and bringing back, there's no fuel, but theirs has juice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or they finish your drink, and they're using your cereal,
or they never just say, I'm sorry at the end of an argument.
No, sorry doesn't. For some
Those
reason, sorry doesn't exist in that dictionary.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
That I am wrong.
It doesn't. No, those words don't exist in that order. In their thesaurus, it doesn't. They don't. So, and because you over the years you've been accommodating.
Yeah.
And as you're accommodating, subconsciously, you're not paying attention that you're carrying bags.
Yes.
And when something hits your psyche, and you get to the point that brings us to where we are here discussing about FedUp issues, what the fudge?
Yeah.
You get to a point you're like, no, man, what the fudge? This is nonsense. I'm enough. And you what people term as throwing your toys out of the cot, It's not. You are literally dropping the bags.
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to say is why it's difficult for some people to drop the bag is dropping the bag means you are relinquishing your hands from carrying certain things.
Yes.
And we get to a position where we're conditioned to be carrying things.
Yeah.
And so when you begin to lose weight on certain stuff, your hands feel idle.
Yes.
Certain compartments in your heart are feeling idle.
Okay.
It's like, okay, if I drop this, then what? What do I do? Because they don't have a place or a sense of security.
Okay.
And because there's no sense of security, some people will just stay carrying the bags.
So there's no other option. So they just keep carrying the bags.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because there are no other options, they'll continue carrying the bags until the bags get so heavy, he does something silly.
Okay.
That's when you get the mental breakdown,
Yes.
the suicides,
Murder.
Murder,
Yeah.
dysfunctional at work,
Yeah.
Pimping, because he's looking for a place of security.
Yeah.
Because he's not getting it where he initially thought he would get it.
Yeah.
Because where he's going there to find a place of security where he can just lay all his burdens down.
Place of rest.
Place of rest. He's not getting it.
Yeah.
Because where he's a place of rest. Did you ever get to a point where you'd catch a bus to Joburg?
Yes.
And did you ever use a non-luxury bus?
Yes. The last time that I was on a bus, yes.
Yeah, non-luxury bus.
Yes. I couldn't fit my knees on it.
Yeah, but non-luxury as in you carry your baggage.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happens. So
Yes.
you are sitting for over 1,000 Ks with the bag on your legs.
Yes, I remember that day.
And you're going to Joburg, where mentally it's a place where you're just gonna go and unwind and do whatever you need to do.
When you cross the border, it's amazing. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like the soil is the same, but it's, just,
It's amazing.
it's amazing. But you're carrying this bag on your legs.
Yes.
And that's the same thing.
It goes beyond being heavy. It becomes like part of your body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when you then take the bag off, you're taking it off so that you find a place of rest. But if you don't find security to put your bag down, you're going to keep carrying it. That's the same thing that happens with most folks. And it was highlighted when we left the last time that there are a lot of men, I'm going to say men, because that's what we gravitate. We're not going to start finding out what women are going through.
We don't know.
It's men, and what they're doing is, and from what we heard that day, is they're carrying so many bags of, am I feeding the family? Am I feeding myself? Am I looking after my family? I'm looking after myself. But while he's thinking about that, am I doing enough to secure my job? You know what I mean? Am I doing enough to make sure that I don't become redundant, irrelevant, and then I'm fired?
Yeah.
Is my company performing enough so that I don't get that call, oh, guys, we need to downsize. And you are the first person to be called to be downsized. So you're carrying all that baggage. And when you get home or to your place where you're finding it's a place of rest, you can't, because when you get there, you still have the bags on your knees at your place of rest. And so when you say drop the bag, he's going to drop them and do what? You understand? So you need to find
they need a security.
They need a place of security. So it's very difficult to drop the bag. Place of security. Place of security is that whole issue that I don't know, were we talking, were we recording, or it was before we started recording and saying, this whole two shall become one thing?
Recording.
Oh yeah, the two shall become one. Two shall become one is not necessarily just about building, buying, projecting, but it's also finding a place of rest.
Yeah.
And if you can't find a place of rest, then the two shall become one in terms of, so where's my other? You are then, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Yeah, that was quite heavy.
Ergo, the fourth ship rocks up.
Okay, I didn't see that coming, but okay. I didn't see that one coming at all, actually. You're doing pretty well there.
The fourth ship comes up and gives you a place of rest.
Okay.
And gives you a place of security.
Okay.
And gives you a place of peace.
Okay.
So that when you drop your bags, you don't feel as though you're alone. Because the greatest fear that an individual has is a fear of being left alone.
So does that play a lot into mental health?
Like no man's business.
So what do they do if they're not supposed to go to the ship?
Yeah.
Look, I say this
Look,
because
I hear you because it's
I
going to
wanna
come out
dig-
in the comments.
Yeah, and I don't want to digress, but there's issues where someone says they didn't know, or they don't know how to deal with that, where their other significant partner has got all these bags and baggage that they're carrying, and it's now been manifested in abuse, whatever it is we mentioned before. So, to me, that's always been the number one question. We can identify the problem. How do we then, before the fourth ship comes?
What was before Jelly Babies?
It was the one. It was my birthday one.
It was your birthday one. Yeah, it was your birthday one.
Yeah. You said I rented on quite a bit in the previous one.
You went on forever. It was before the Cape Town trip.
You
I think it was
defining that I didn't define it.
Yeah. When it was the day you're wearing shorts. Yeah, no, I remember that because 2 days afterwards, that's when you just went offline and COVID hit you.
Yes.
There was one where I digress, man.
It was definition for me. I think it goes back to those parts where if it's not defined, and I like the line to say, where you don't think as one. If you think as one, you'll be able to identify and pick it up.
Oh no, thank you. You reminded me. You're talking about the crack in the windscreen.
Yes.
Yeah, where a crack in the windscreen starts as a very small chip.
Yes, and it becomes usual.
And it becomes huge. And when it goes across the whole windscreen, that's when people are like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For each and every situation,
there was a crack.
There was a crack.
Ooh.
For each and every situation, there was a crack.
Okay.
You didn't see that one coming.
No, I didn't. That's actually quite good, actually.
And for those that are not in a situation where there's a potential ship arrangement, or a distraction, or a destiny changing occurrence, you need to get to a point where you analyze yourself.
Only, or the other person as well?
And the one who's about to lose it.
Okay.
Try and figure out where the crack started.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there's something that I love that I've been doing of late, from the moment I started your car.
Not driving till the clutch goes out.
No.
So you're going?
Look, man,
he's a great mechanic, but he blew his own clutch.
Look, I blew my clutch because I drove it like I stole it. My
Anyway,
gosh,
you
I
said-
love the way that thing just performs. You know, it's just and the clutch was like, I think I'm
It
tired.
does
now.
sound like an abusive relationship. Anyway, go on.
No, man, but I've been caring for her for the past year. It's something that was I knew it was happening, but there's a whole lot of other things that needed to be repaired prior.
And that becomes my reply to what you said. That the crack appears, but there's a whole lot of other things that you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. That
And
you're not even.
When you notice the crack,
Yeah.
when my clutch eventually blew,
Yeah.
I couldn't scream at myself.
No, because you now remember.
Because I remember,
When the
I
penny
was
dropped,
warned.
right?
Yeah, the
Yes.
penny dropped. I was warned.
Yes.
You know, unfortunately, there was so many things happening that have allowed me the capacity to deal with everything.
Okay.
Yeah, because dropping the gearbox allows me to deal with everything else.
Okay.
But I'm willing to drop the gearbox.
Okay.
Not everybody is willing to get to the point where they identify where the crack started. And when you get to the point where you find where the crack started, where the chip happened, therein lies the ability to figure out how to get out of it.
Back seat to front seat.
Yeah, therein.
Okay.
But unfortunately, what we have done as human nature, and I think we discussed it 2-3 podcasts ago, that because we are always in perpetual motion, standing still and taking stock is seen with such disregard and disdain that nobody gives themselves time to do so. And
we're super impatient.
yeah, it's like no man's business. Everything is just,
On the go.
On the go. You're doing 180 k's an hour
in a 40-kilometer lane.
Exactly. Or you are driving and there's a car in front of you. You are doing 180 and you're not catching up. What's the first thing you're going to do, Chris? You tell me.
Accelerate.
Exactly.
Accelerate.
You know what I mean? But you're both over the limit.
Yeah, pretty fast anyway.
But nobody wants to take stock and say, no, hang on. Is this necessary? And I think we mentioned it the last time, that everybody has to stop and take check.
Yeah.
I was talking to a different mate of mine last night, and he's buffet. He works out big time. It's his place of rest and detox. If there's anything happening at home, anything happening at
he goes
work,
and kills the scene,
you know, or at work or pressures and trying to figure out, am I going to be able to feed my family? He takes it out there.
Okay.
And I said to him, look, you do that.
There must be a lot for him to be buff like that.
Bruh, you know? And then he goes, you know what? And when I'm done with the gym, I drive home.
And he's okay.
And he goes, I drive home. And I said, the drive. He goes, the drive. Your beats. And I said, yeah, that's my place of zen.
Man cave.
You know what I mean? And then I asked myself the question, what did I do today? Was it effective? What do I need to change?
Okay.
Because for you and I to get to a place where we're saying we're fed up, we literally drop bags.
Yes.
So now I'm very alert on where's their chip now.
Okay.
From the moment I was like, I'm fed up. Where's there a chip? Deal with it.
Okay, so everybody should look back where the crack came from.
Where the crack came from.
That's where they should look back.
That's where they should look back. Unfortunately, for us to look back, it's very difficult because you are scared to face the failure that's looking in the mirror.
They always look back in anger, don't they?
Yeah, but when you look in the mirror, you're upset at looking at the guy that has failed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, no, I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be breaking down. I shouldn't be collapsing. I shouldn't be feeling so desperate for affection, for attention, for respect. And you look in the mirror and say, where did you lose it? And you're so embarrassed to look at yourself. Yeah? You're so embarrassed to look at yourself.
Okay.
And then you lose it. Because what happens is when you look at yourself, I mentioned it last week, the last podcast, the last recording, when you look at yourself, the yardstick protocol kicks in.
Yeah.
What are you measuring yourself against? Who are you measuring yourself against? And you realize I can't measure myself to Chris. I can't. I got to measure myself to who I thought I was before all this nonsense started.
Okay.
Who I felt I was. What were my strengths, my weaknesses? You do a SWOT analysis on yourself, you know, because Chris is Chris.
Yeah, but you know what happens in that situation is that, again, and I know you think I'm laboring on about it, is that people are not honest.
We've been talking about this all this time.
Yeah.
I think even from podcast 1,
yes,
we're not true to self.
No, we're not. This is why all the problems start.
Exactly, because it's not true to say, but you know what? No, here you messed up.
Yes.
And I think I'm okay with it when I'm driving now.
Yeah.
I can say, but yo, guy.
Yeah, this was wrong.
This was wrong. You messed up. You know, deal with this. Or no, this was wrong. No, correct yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you correct yourself or you figure out who you are, I don't want to talk about Christian Science or whatever, but things begin to get to a point where they meet you.
It's clarity.
If they just meet you because you've defined yourself, you begin to force nature and energy to respect how you've defined
yourself. So this can be done even in your 20s?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people come back and say, because my dad, you've lived life, you mean it's midlife. So you've seen all of that stuff.
It's got nothing to do with that.
I say that because even I had a conversation with a young man this afternoon, and he said that as well, is that nothing beats experience.
Look, there's certain things that you can say that nothing beats experience.
Yeah.
Side topic. I was talking to an apprentice of mine. There's a car that I was working on. It was a Mercedes C-Class. And then I took off the wheel. There's a grease cap supposed to cover the wheel bearing and the nut that secures the wheel to the frame, to the axle, yeah. So I took off the wheel and I saw the cap wasn't there. So I called the young man and said, I haven't done anything except take off the wheel. What do you see? Guy looks around. I said, no, you're not going to fix. What do you see?
You're thinking too hard.
So he's thinking. And then he looks and goes, oh, there's no cap here. I said, exactly. Sometimes my job is not about grabbing a spanner and just beating something with a hammer as well. But you observe. Because some things can be repaired by just observing that, no, just do this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just deal with that.
Yeah.
I laugh. I digress again. My daughter, she was in grade 7 at the time. This guy rocks up to a primary school and he was picking up, I think, his young sister or maybe his daughter, I don't know, but it was driving a C-Class. At the time, it was a new C-Class, the W204. It was a petrol motor. He rocks up. It was misfiring, but he rocks up, switches off the car, and then the young lady gets in the car, and then he's with a bae or a significant, I don't know who it is, so he's looking at the points, shades and all that stuff. cranks the thing refused to start. Cranks and cranks. And everyone's looking and he's like, okay. Then he opens the bonnet to try and figure out,
what's wrong with it.
Yeah, but he's neither here nor there.
Anything.
And my daughter just rocks up. She looks. And then she says to the guy, shouldn't this be plugged in?
You're kidding.
I'm serious. He plugs it in. Starts the car.
You're kidding.
Her friends went wild. And then I asked her when she was telling me the story, and I said, and then? Did he thank you? No, he just drove off.
Oh.
He just drove off, But she did something because of observation.
Okay.
And sometimes, not sometimes, every time, you need to observe yourself. Take the time out. Take 30 minutes of a day. If you can't sit in the office, or maybe on your ride home, in the bus, in the combo, when you're driving, just take 30 minutes in the day to say, okay, this is what happened. And it's got nothing to do with daily planning. It's just take stock.
Yeah, those are the things that kill people. Like, now you give me an assignment. I have to
and-
write it down.
You
No.
don't have to write, but just, okay, I shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have done this. I was sharing with a friend of mine. We should never do video.
Bambere in a video.
I was sharing with a friend of mine, and I was driving, and we were going on site, and someone cut me off, and my friend was used to me reacting to being cut off, and I was very chilled, and they said,
How come?
"How come?" And I said, I made up my mind last week to keep a word in my head: abuse.
Oh, okay.
And they asked, what you mean? I said, I can be abusive and retaliate. And in turn, they become abusive towards me.
Exactly. They react to you, yeah.
Yeah. And number 3, we lose focus and function for literally 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
No.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
If he cuts me off, it's okay. I can apply the brakes. Then I'll show them while I'm driving when I overtake. But I don't need to cut him off. You know what I mean? Or if he cuts me off and he drives off, it's okay. Abuse.
So we choose to take on those emotions.
We choose. We pick
Carry
up the
a bag.
bags. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we try to present or project a particular persona.
Yeah.
But then we need to just drop the bags and say, you know what, it's okay. Find your place of security. Find your place of zen. We just detox and detach.
Yeah.
And for those that can't do the 4th ship missions or don't want to or not inclined to do that stuff or are not involved in that stuff, you need to get to a situation where you are willing to find somebody to talk with about that. 99% of most issues are generated by lack of communicating them.
I would go 100%.
And
No, this is not Deto or Domestos.
you need to
This is 100%.
you need to throw it out. You need to articulate it.
Yeah. And everybody can talk.
Everybody can talk.
So what is the problem?
The issue is not everybody can talk, but not everybody communicates.
Okay.
Everybody can drive.
Yeah.
No, everybody can move a vehicle, but not everybody can drive.
They can't drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, because
especially when it rains.
Any man can be a father, but not every man can be a dad.
Yeah.
So people can talk, but they won't communicate. And then the people to which they're communicating with,
Aren't listening.
yeah, they're hearing, not listening. So, and so what happens is because this person who is carrying so many bags has got nowhere to dump his bags,
To get the security they're
to
looking
get
for.
the place of security, they'll just continue carrying them and carrying them. Until
I hear
they
you.
can't.
And I think you've debunked it enough to say it's not something that you can just drop easily. Maybe I'm just thinking more in it's not.
In a Chris way.
Yes.
In a Chris is forever way.
Yes.
Okay, go for it, Chris.
Yes. How long can you carry this stuff? You know you're carrying it. And you keep carrying it. And nothing is moving. Nothing's working. Surely, I like Sherlock Holmes. I like that series. And there was a line that came from this TV series that when the most probable solution has been exhausted and it's not the one that you've been looking for, the improbable, the one that you cannot think is a solution, becomes the probable solution. So everybody will go around and say, I'm going to carry these things. Zim is hard and it's difficult and everything else. And they pile on all these bags that they're running away with. And all of a sudden, they stop there and they wonder, why are they in this situation? And yet they know, they can see it clearly what the problem is. Because I truly do believe everybody can see it.
Oh, no, that's the truth.
Yeah, they do. And like you said, they look in the mirror and they can see it, that it's actually there. Drop it.
Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. He sings,
Yes.
I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Then the next sentence is, I'm asking him to change his ways.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's very difficult for Chris to look in the mirror and say, Chris, change your ways. Because there's so many things that Chris has set.
Yes.
He had made destiny defining
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
decisions.
Yes.
And he doesn't know how to then admit to himself that he failed. And to admit to himself that he fell short. For him to then say, you know what?
Yeah, I could agree with that because
Don't say you could. That's the way it is,
give us
boss.
your one, Micah. It's a smaller one. So I was in a car park and I hadn't noticed that at a slow puncher, and now this tire was just flat, the front wheel. And I'm taking out all the tools to kind of jack it up and everything else. This security guard comes in the car park and he says, let me do it for you. Now for me, maybe it's the way I raised, I just said, no, I can do it. So not to worry. He was seeking money, you know?
I'm with you.
And he calls us this really ridiculous word, which I don't like. And once you say that to me, I'm switching off. That's what switched me off. No, warungu like you. Calling me that calling me a rungu and I'm a black man is not going to work with me whatsoever. So I switched up and I started fixing it. So obviously when someone happens like that, I always ask the question because I always want to ask, what are you doing? Then he says, no, the pay that I get is not even enough for me to be able to take anything home. It's difficult. Then I asked him, so why are you doing it? You're not a tree. Do you have a piece of land somewhere? Yes, I do. In Dombo Shower, I asked the chief, and the chief gave us some piece of land. So what are you doing? Do you pay rent anywhere? He says, no, the house I'm actually staying in Greencroft. I don't pay rent because that person has got a piece of land in Dombo Shower. So because of that camaraderie, they just gave me that for free. So you're not paying rent. You got a piece of land. You hate the current job you're in. Why are you here? No, it's difficult to start. No, how do you even know if it's difficult to start? Have you started? No, you haven't. And that's, to me, it was very typical of a lot of the situations that we find ourselves in. We force ourselves, like you say, not to look at the person in the mirror. Because this person's mirror was abundant. And I said, in this car park, there's a lot of guys with all these big cars without a piece of land like you do. And Dombo Shower is known for growing stuff. And it's close enough to Harare that you can push.
Bruh, went there once.
Yes, you tell me, you know what I'm saying? And I said, so you got a piece of land. Now, I was very adamant because I used to do mushrooms. And mushrooms in a room that's like 3 meters wide and then goes down 20 meters. You can push 3 tons in a month. 3 tons can give you almost like 6K, United States dollars. All you have to do is just find the market. So it was just applying themselves to that. And I said, so what are you going to do? I'm going to try and do chickens. Try. What are you doing here? You've told me that it's long hours, it's 12-hour shifts. Huh? You've told me that the money that you get is not good enough already. So you've been looking at the man in the mirror and you've seen this. I've got this bag of all of this stuff that I'm carrying. And guess what? You turn around and decide to keep carrying that bag. And yet there's a free road in place where you can say, go and drop your bags over there. Come this way and be in charge of your destiny. Define it and change it. He just looks at me and guess what? I finished jacking up the tie, replacing everything else. And I find there's a $50 note. I asked my brother, is it yours? No. And it's not in mine because I didn't take anything out of my pocket. So I pick it up and say, you can have this. Guess what? He was happy and he walked away. I can tell you right now, tomorrow, he'll be in the same place. Yeah, he'll be in the same place again. He was happy that he got that. That's what he wanted. That's as far as his vision could go. And you ask me, what? This is why I'm fed up. Because I'm really fed up with people who come to me and say, I'm Tara, Murungu, Antibatsiro, what? I ask you a few simple questions. So what's your plan? What are you doing? I want to do this. You sound like a solid plan. But you're acting like a tree and you're not moving anywhere. And yet you've got a piece of land.
Chris, I don't know how to say this in a way that you will comprehend.
Nah. And I like the comments when you come for this because to me, it's clear.
Look, I agree with what you've said. I agree 100%. Because you are speaking to the choir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I hear you because I'm at that same place. I saw this, I went into this phone shop thingy where they sell accessories and all that stuff.
And you do your usual thing.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, you do your usual thing.
And they always have ladies that are selling there.
It's a marketing ploy, yes.
I mean, something, hey, how you doing? I'm just striking conversation. And just look at me funny.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, I had a sister of mine.
Okay.
My sister goes, yo, man, come on, stop. Can't you check you freaking her out? And so because my sister said it in her hearing, she relaxed. And we talk. And I said to her, you've been here for how long? And she goes, I've been here for like a year. And I said, so when are you going to open your thing? She goes, maybe. I said, don't give me maybes.
Oh, they'll give you maybes like they're giving you jelly babies.
Yeah. Maybe in about 5 years. I said, that's fine. I said, this is what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm giving you up until, I was giving
a week?
I gave her 2 months. I said, in the next 2 months, I'm coming back here and you're going to give me a company name.
Yeah. Just a name.
Just a name. And I said, no, you're not registering the company. I just want you to give me the name of the company you're going to have. Because I was trying to get her mind to think in that way.
Yeah.
Which is what I said literally 15, 20 minutes ago. And I said,
no,
Chris,
it's been an hour.
No, Chris, we haven't spent an hour.
Mr. Producer, how long has it been?
No, we have been here we've been here for over an hour.
50 minutes.
You see?
That's an hour.
It's not.
You go on,
no,
bruh.
It's 50 minutes, not an hour. It's not an hour. Glass is half full. It's half empty, not full. Not an hour.
This is when you kick gear now. Now we're going to...
I haven't started it. You haven't pushed the right button.
So you gave it a toss, 2 months. Just a name.
Just a name. And what you have just said about this guy with a piece of property and incidentally this lady that I was having a chat with is what I said about 20 minutes ago, that destiny defining decisions and destiny changing decisions.
Yes.
And when you change a destiny, you then begin to do things to define it. And so what people have done is they'll complain, but where they are is a place where they've defined who they are.
So they can't move from there.
They can't move from there because they are scared to drop the bag because they don't have a place of security.
That's why I gave you that example, because that guy is exactly what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying, because he's just so fearful. He's fearful. Remember I said, made a statement about, I forget which podcast it was, where I said, everybody's got to be a maverick somewhere.
Yeah, and that's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy because it means you're going to drop the bag.
Yes.
And, with or without security, you're going to go for it.
Yes.
Yeah, but at this present moment in time, everybody's just fearful of, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's a realness, Chris. It's a realness. That's why people are still
what I'm fed up with is everybody who comes. You and I run our own little businesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not like extremely rich and everything else, but we've got a purpose and we do what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're defining our own destiny.
Yeah.
So they'll come to us with that envy in their eyes to say, but these guys have got this and everything else. And I hate people who come up to me and start telling me about that story, because 9 times out of 10, when I ask them just those simple questions, what do you have? The answer is always the same. They've actually got something. We're not asking people to be employees or entrepreneurs. That's not what I'm advocating, because you all can't be entrepreneurs. Just get that out of your head. But being able to change your own destiny in that sort of way and drop that bag. You got this bag that keeps telling you, no, I got rent, it's not enough money, it's 16,000 naira TGS after taxes, and then I got to do rent, then I got to do this, then I got to do that, and everything else. So you can actually live on your piece of land with no rent.
Well, this is what I can say about that.
No, I thought you were going to say your classic line.
No, not yet. I'm not there yet. This is what I want to say about that. It's got to do with dropping the bag, the yardstick protocol. Everybody revolves around the yardstick protocol, how they're conditioned when they grow up.
Yes.
and it's very difficult to think outside the box because of where you're coming from. So if the good thing is next to you, you have no idea until it's gone. But anyway, if there's a good thing ahead of you, it's very difficult to reach out to it because your bags are already full.
Yeah.
And they're full of things that you have picked up because, like we said the last time, you want to you want to be identified with everybody that's in your clique. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I don't want to say, I'm going to say this very bluntly and very broadly. It's not going to be applicable to everyone, but everybody will appreciate and understand it. And it's not peculiar to our country. It's everywhere. There is a haves and have-nots.
Okay.
Their thinking is different.
Yes.
There's ghetto and not ghetto.
Yes.
Thinking is different.
Yes.
And so mindsets are different.
Yes.
And so how people view things is totally different. And so somebody's limited to yardstick protocol, how they've measured themselves and how they were conditioned. And so they've got to break out of that. So you've got so many things that are fighting against an individual to break out of that. And so when those bags get heavy, you need to cater for and understand that all those things that are happening there. I'll bring it back to the subject I really, really love talking about. It is a daunting task to get out of a Mazda 323. Mazda 323 carbureted with wind windows. Yeah?
It's very hard to get out of it.
To get out of the mindset of you're used to
the winding windows,
and
yes,
gear lever, gear one, and in the morning if the choke isn't right, she has issues starting, and you just, oh my gosh, and 323.
Classic car though.
Classic.
Yeah.
Today you're in a 323. Then all of a sudden you're in the new Mercedes S-Class.
It's too much of a jump.
Where you're looking, where's the gear lever? Where's the handbrake? Windows.
It's so cool here.
And the 2021 S, it's got this whole tablet of a center console.
Yes.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Spaceship.
And the speedo is just all digital. Oh my. It's so daunting. In as much as they know this is where you should be, they would rather revert to what they were comfortable with.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And regardless of the disadvantages of being the 323 in relation to being in the 2021S, regardless of the disadvantages, you'd rather stay there because it's what you know.
That reminds me of that story of that toad, where you put a toad in water and you put it on fire.
It's actually not a story, it's the real deal.
It doesn't go anywhere until it dies.
Yeah, because as far as it's in water, it adjusts. And then when it thinks, it's hot, dead. And that's what happens to a lot of folk. You're like,
yes,
oh my gosh, dead. Oh my gosh, suicide. Oh my gosh, mental case. Oh my gosh, what happened to my life? And exactly.
Yeah.
What happened to my life? And
a lot of women say that in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they reach a certain age. What happened to my life?
Yeah,
you were living it.
Yeah,
weren't you part of this?
They didn't see the chip on the windscreen.
Yeah, it just cracked. Now it's just big crack.
But they didn't see the chip.
And it's the first thing that they run to? I'm gonna get a divorce.
Yardstick protocol. Which brings us back to what Chris said long time ago: princess mentality. But anyway, life goes on. Yeah. So, dropping the bag is something that has to be done. It needs to be done. It should be done.
But it's never done.
It's never done because those that are carrying the bags are fearful of dropping them because they don't have a place of security. They do not. These are mind games. Yeah? And so if you want to keep somebody in the loop, yeah? That's why you have the whole phrase, a false sense of security. You keep somebody in the loop that they'll continue carrying those bags in the loop. And when you realize he's about to drop, you change tactic. You keep them in the loop, you change tactic.
You know what that sounds like?
Your management.
It does.
And so you're managed and you're kept in the loop. until you get to the point. No. I've been here before.
And I've been to this for a while.
Yeah, enough.
And you know what management does?
What?
It just switches the gears.
I think you're in the loop again until you're like, no. I'm done. And when you are done, you are labeled as the rebel. You're labeled as
What's your baza?
you know.
What
What were you thinking?
mkazi?
Are you for real? You know, and why are you labeled like that? Because that's what society is conditioned to be. We spoke about society and the harmful effects of society, and how you're supposed to be seen like this, how you're supposed to be seen as this, and because you drop the bags in which society said you must carry so that they keep you in the loop. Society is now, oh my gosh, we've lost this guy. How do we make him come back? Make him feel bad for what he's doing. Make him feel as though it's his responsibility for being stupid, for being weak, for wanting to make the change, for becoming a maverick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when that happens, you feel as though society has thrown you over the deep end and you can't swim, so you drown. And then you do the nonsense that you want to do. The best case scenario, you just have a mental breakdown for a couple of days, a couple of months. Or you have an emotional breakdown for a couple of months and you wake up and you move on. That's the best case scenario. Worst case, you kill yourself.
So whose responsibility is that?
It's your own responsibility.
But you've just alluded to here, some people are just not strong enough to do that.
Hey, those are the ones that are the touchy ones. Have you ever been to not touchy-feely, but the ones that are emotionally wired, that will do the crazy thing? Have you ever been to a funeral? Hey, this topic. Have you ever been to a funeral and it's a parent that has died or a sibling that has died? Or let's say a parent that has passed away. Mm-hmm. Watch the children. Watch the ones that cry and ones that don't cry. Yeah? The ones that cry are okay. The ones that don't cry are the ones that are going to blow up.
Okay, I buried both my parents. I didn't cry then.
Yeah. You cried later.
Yeah.
Yeah, after something.
Yeah. I went into, I think it's a self-preservation mode.
Those are the dangerous.
I'm dangerous?
No. Self-preservation is dangerous. Because self-preservation is when you're willing to carry bags. Because self-preservation.
Yes, I carried bags at that time. Yes.
Because self-preservation means you're presenting and projecting a facade.
Yes, I did.
And in that facade, now everybody's identifying with what you're projecting.
Yes.
And once you project that, when you then decide, no, guys, I gotta deal with my stuff.
Yes.
I'm dropping my bags. They then cannot handle who you're now projecting because you're dealing with what you're dealing with.
Yes.
And so you're fighting that.
But I never showed them that side.
Which side?
The crying side. I went to a place of rest.
Okay, cool. But sometimes it needs to be seen.
To show who those people that I'm dead.
No. To show them that you experienced it, you've dealt with it, and you've moved. Because I'm not saying that you need to be accountable. But what I'm saying is there needs to be an understanding that you know what, you dropped the bag and you moved on.
Okay, I'm gonna share something with you about me. For the longest, and I think it was purely based on how I grew up, like you said, things that were there. I would not show that side just to anybody. So much so, I had clients whom I would fire, and then they'll come back to my business partner and say, but Chris doesn't say anything. He didn't say anything. Even to this day, some still stick with that. And I remember, I think 2 podcasts ago, I said, you know enough about me to make some sort of judgment call, but not enough to say that you know me. Yeah. Because we met this year, it's a couple of months.
Yeah.
But even people who do know me, and my argument has always been that, but I've shown you, I've communicated. And communication is not me saying, I'm going to talk now, or I'm going to write you an email. Communication is so much. They say body language is 87%.
Ooh, body language is wicked.
Yeah. So my body language to you was quite clear, but they didn't want to pick it up because of their own selfish needs. And I would say, no, this is not what I want to do. But they'll push the agenda that Chris doesn't communicate at all. They've always said that. So even when I was dealing with highly stressful situations like funerals and burying my parents, whatever it is, I would get into what I call beast mode and get the job done.
Okay.
You get the job done.
Things need to flow.
Yeah, and then you detach yourself from them because they're not supposed to see that part of you at all. And you then release at a place of rest. Always. I mentioned this because there are people like that, whom every day they're smiling at you. Every day you think that they've got it together, but they have to find a place of rest.
Yeah, that's the critical thing. Finding the place of rest.
Yeah.
Most of the statistics we're reading,
they don't have.
People don't have a place of rest.
Yes.
So the issue now is you need to find a place of rest. But here's the deal. Most people think, but I don't have a place of rest. I'm saying the yardstick protocol. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, so what now?
Yeah.
And I got to that place.
Yeah.
Hence why we're doing these podcasts. I got to that place. I'm like, okay, so what now?
Well, you're fed up.
Yeah, I'm fed up.
Yeah.
So what now?
Yeah.
You know?
And you have to change a lot of things.
I had to
drop a lot of bags.
Destiny changing and and drop a lot of bags. And I'll define my destiny.
Yeah.
You know? And I will define it to the best of who I know I am, not who I think I am.
Yeah. Because you spend the most time with yourself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. People don't know that the person you spend the most time with is yourself.
Yeah, it's yourself.
So you know yourself.
And you're like,
that's why I was saying what I was saying.
Most people, when they pick up bags and they pick up responsibilities, what most people are loving to do is like what we said, when you pick bags up, when you pick up stuff, you want to be identified with what you have carried and what you're picking up and what you're rolling with.
Yeah.
And nobody sees the person who is carrying the stuff.
Yeah.
And when that happens, that is when you're going to get a situation where somebody just goes into acute depression. Somebody blows a mental fuse and they just start acting out of sorts. Ships begin to arise. And very, very rarely will it be the fourth ship. It will always be 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because 1, 2, and 3, there's nothing really gelling to keep it, no longevity. It's one of those, don't worry. It will be done. You know what I mean? So,
you know, those are dangerous when somebody says that.
Oh yeah,
you know
what I mean? Because of ship 1, 2, and 3. So those are the people that haven't found rest, and they haven't found a place of security where they're comfortable with themselves.
So, are you saying? I'm using your phrase. That's what you say when you say. Are you saying we should have interventions more often? Yeah. Okay, you must find a place of rest. Yeah. So I want to intervene and make sure that you're safe. I want to be able to say that my producer is safe. Let's go with the flow here.
Here's the deal. There'll be no video anytime soon. Here's the deal. The deal is, you said there should be intervention.
Yes, on a regular basis. Because these people are not alone. Yeah?
This is. You see, it's gonna take a short left. This is where you have to have situations of going out, spending time with friends. No, that's where the phrase came out. No man is an island.
Which is yeah,
no man is an island.
That's why I've got
what you've just said.
Yeah, that's why I've got a challenge with most of that. Why these things are happening, and these are not people who are an island.
No, that's what I'm saying. There has to be an intervention. There has to be a place where people can find rest, a place where people can find peace. And that's why joints like Kwamerek were quite fantastic. Those guys would just go and de-stress. Sometimes it would be just guys or friends.
100%, I agree.
Yeah, who just go there, or the lake.
Yes.
You know, just go there, just to have a jolt, so they can just unwind and detox, de-stress.
Yeah.
If it's going to be a social gathering and couples are mingling, that's why you find the guys are by a braai stand.
Yes.
Just talking, because he may not articulate his main issues, but he just detoxes and de-stresses a bit.
I want to come in there before you go. Why is it we can't talk to our significant other on that level?
Bags and baggage.
They've got bags as well.
Yeah, bags and baggage and familiarity and kujairirana.
But
hang on. And kujairirana. Now, when you can't talk to a significant other, it's because the walls are already there.
Yeah.
And the walls were formed. Yeah. The walls were formed.
When you said I do.
Ipap, right there. So the walls were formed, and when the walls were formed, there was no cohesion in. We spoke about this in one of the podcasts. I'm not going to repeat. Go one of the episodes. I forget which one it was. Where as I mentioned, walls are built when somebody drops a ball, and balls were dropped, so he doesn't find security in the significant other. So he doesn't find a place of rest. So what they're doing is they're screen saving in public.
Yes.
And they're roommates at home.
Yes.
Because
that is true. They're roommates.
Yeah. And he hasn't found a place of security. He hasn't found a place in which to allow himself to be vulnerable to the spouse or the significant other because of Kujairan.
So who makes the first move?
Who makes the first move?
Because something has got to give. Because
here's the deal. The one who needs to make the first move is the one with the greatest need. But
I got to come back for that one.
But they are unaware that they have the need at most moments until they lash out. Now, interventions are necessary. One of the things that also annoys me about it's going to get me in trouble about churches is churches are meant to also be a place
of rest
and peace.
Yes.
And
yet
they're a place of extreme frustration.
Yes.
And extreme pressure.
As misplaced interpretations.
Exactly. And where your inner being is supposed to find a place of, shucks, I'm at a place where I can just detox. Is in greater pressure than he was at work, And so the Mac that you're going to see on Sunday doing the whole thing at work.
Sunday best,
and then from there home and then work is the Mac that you're going to see Friday night and Saturday night at a club.
Okay.
Just to, oh my gosh, this is so much pressure.
Yeah.
And when you see that, I'm not saying clubs are a bad place. They're pretty cool, especially they've got nice music. Great music. Yeah. Look, I'm gonna throw it out there in case people think I'm speaking against clubs or promoting clubs. Bruh, the music is just wicked. I just love the music. I went to some joint and music was hectic, clean, everything was fantastic. I said to the DJ, I said, I'm bringing my flash next week. And he goes, cool. You thought I was joking. I drove. The following week, I said, hey, I just came for the music, but I didn't even get a drink, nothing. I said, I just came for the music and I'm out. So people go to the clubs just unwind, to be away from home. Why? Because that's not a place of rest. It's just pressure. Interventions are fantastic, but interventions then need for people to understand you in terms of the Yostic protocol of, do they know self? And have you projected self? Catch my drift? Because
I do.
Yeah, because when you begin to understand somebody's initial settings in relation to how they are now, you can present a listening ear. You can present an environment for them to understand things more clearly, or you can do the $50 thing to that guy that was doing the tires, where you just avail yourself. You understand? Which takes me back to about 3-4
No, that's just the level of maturity that you're talking about there.
Yeah, which takes me back to podcast when I said, sometimes we look at people as though they're just things. Petroton, put fuel, leave me alone. Do your job. Still operator, I don't need to talk to you. I'll be on the phone while you're just doing the thing. I'll just swipe and I'll
It's your job.
It's your job. Waitress, oh, you're giving me food. Yeah, okay, walk away.
Oh my goodness.
You see, and I'm bringing it home. Gardener, open the gate, close the gate. Magadi boss, yeah, okay, clean the car. You go in. You gotta ask them, how you doing? Are you well? Are you good?
I'm gonna flip it for you though.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever asked you? Because you got a team, right? Has somebody actually come to ask you because you're in that management part? So
ask me, how am I doing?
Yes.
Not in my team.
Exactly. That's but
because I'm the boss.
Exactly.
No. There's the usual greeting. Hey, how you doing? You good? How's the weekend?
Yeah, but no one has asked you.
No, there's usual. How you doing? No, they ask, how's you doing?
No.
Or they see me along the. Hey,
that's mechanical.
So your car. Yeah,
it's all mechanical. What you're saying.
But here's the other thing. Because I know my place of rest.
Okay.
And because I know my place of zen. And
Okay.
because I know my place of security.
All of this other stuff is just background music.
It's background music. It's
Okay.
Whether I get it from them or
Yeah.
not,
Cool.
it's fine. But where I'm at my place of security, my place of vulnerability, and I'm okay with it, that is where I need it from.
Cool.
If I don't get it from there, then there's drama.
I want to use your phrase again. So you are saying, okay, this is how I'm interpreting
You're on
it.
my case.
I'm on your flipping case. And I want to use an analogy we had before. If you don't ask the critical questions in the beginning, you're going to find yourself in a spot as you go on longer, where it will be difficult for people to intervene with you because you can't look in the mirror yourself and you're not true to thyself. You're going to have a situation where you've been carrying all these bags unnecessarily, which brings me back. You're trying to be clever, but I'm smarter. 2 podcasts back where I said where you should drop the bag because only you can drop the bag. You have to be clear on who you are and what you have brought into it. You can't bring bags into a relationship, of which most people do. Bags are when you didn't have a stable relationship with your mom or dad. So you can't relate with individuals and you can't make it balanced properly. You don't have a relationship where someone has taught you what it means to be coupling with someone else. You know that's a different dynamics, right? Being individual, being single, and then with being with someone in the space. And you started this podcast by saying they squeeze the toothpaste in the middle. You know, that doesn't sound like it's much, but that's the straw that broke the camel. Let's be honest. He actually got bad breath in the morning. Woman, you've been sleeping with me for the last 16 years. Today, I got a bad breath. Oh, you're boring. Today, I'm boring. Today, after 19 years together, I am boring today. 19, I am boring today. We're not asking the critical questions at the beginning, which obviously arguments my argument 2 podcasts back, where we lie. The first person we lie to, do you know who's the first one we lie to? Thyself.
Which is why I said you got to do the Michael Jackson thing, but we do not afford ourselves the time.
So we lie to ourselves.
We do because we want to identify with something. But I'm not denying that.
Finally, after 2 podcasts, he agrees with what I say. We lie.
That somebody said. They said, you and Chris are talking exactly the same thing. I said, yeah, because Chris is the one who's failing to listen to what I'm saying. I'm always right. I mentioned it about looking at the man in the mirror.
This sounds like somebody who's related to you who would say something like that. Self-promotion. That's all that was.
I'm reminded of a joke. These 2 dating, all the time, and the lady had bad breath.
They're just dating now.
Yeah, they're dating.
Okay.
The lady had bad breath, and the guy had
issues with it.
odorous feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and every time they meet, she'd always make sure she's got a breath mint, or she just brush her teeth.
Okay.
Whatever it is, and he always makes sure she's got clean socks.
Okay, so they didn't know of this.
They didn't know of this,
Okay.
and it's one of those ideal situations where they never spent the night or overnight or did any of these things that are normal now. And so they get married, yeah, and then they consummate the marriage. Then they sleep and they wake up, and the wife with the breath now. she's thinking, now what do I say to this guy? Because he's not going to figure it out. And in the back of his mind, he's like, what am I going to say about my feet? She's going to figure it out. Then she turns and she looks at him, and he looks at her, and they're lying on the bed, and then she goes, honey, I need to say something. And the guy starts choking and gagging. Then he goes, don't tell me you ate my socks. So I mean, there comes a time when we've got to be frank, not just with each other, but with the next person. But we're too chicken. We're too pressured by definition from society. And we are too lenient with society for us not to project what we want to become. You are now, it's easy for you to understand it now because of business, where people come and say, especially now, especially after COVID, when people are coming and say, what if we, and you're like, no, I don't have time for what if.
No, I don't.
It's okay. If you can't handle it, it's okay.
It's okay.
I know, I have fun.
There's somebody else around the corner.
Got a guy, he says to me, he gives me his car. He goes, can you check my car? I said, yeah, you blew your head gasket. So what should I do? Change your head gasket? Need a new water pump? Need a new fuel pump because it's been funny, because hard starting as well. And you need a new radiator. He goes, okay. I said, fine. He says, okay, let me buy the spares. I had this car for 3 weeks.
Wow.
3
it
weeks.
happens.
Yeah. And then I said, guy, this car's been here for 3 weeks. Can you come make a plan to pick it up while you buy your spares? No, I've got the spares. They're on their way. I picked them up 2 days later. I said, yeah, so can I have 50% deposit? But I said, no, I don't. this stuff.
You've been away for 3 weeks,
Yeah,
bro.
this stuff.
You've been away for 3 weeks.
Then here's the kicker. The day he gives me the spares. The day, because we didn't touch the car until we got the spares. Because we don't like touching people's cars. Because you can start doing stuff and say, I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
So we buy the spares. And then literally, I pick up the spares at one time at like 4 somewhere there, between 4 and 5. Following day, 10. This is less than 12 hours later. Actually, no, it's more than 12 hours. 4 hours. It's about 18 hours later. Not even midday, I found my car. I said, what? I found my car, because I needed. I've had this thing for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You never call to find out whether your car is safe or not. You never call to find out whether it's inconvenient to me or not. But now that you've given me the spares.
Alpha.
I'm like, come on. Really? But I said, but it's okay. If it bothers you, you can pick it up.
Did he come?
No.
Of course not.
Because the job I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that that we need to do a lot of times when you do self-analysis. There's certain times you got to just bite the bullet and say, you know what? No. Enough of this nonsense. Let me deal with A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
I failed to do this, hence why my spouse is like this. I failed to do this, hence why my children are like this.
Yes.
I failed to do this, hence why my boss is like this.
Yes.
So how do I fix it? Fix it because you are spending too much time in the pub and you're drinking. Get your ass out and go do. You know what I mean? One of the issues that I used to have is I could do a lot of graft, but my stamina was having issues. I'd be like, I can push, but by midday I'm like, I looked at myself, what's going on? Diet.
Oh, okay.
Add more foods.
Oh, okay.
During the day. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah. Then I started cycling. Hydrate more. It may seem embarrassing to me to talk to myself like, come on, really? Come on. But at the end of the day, who's gonna benefit? You know what I mean? But then let's flip the script. Instead of being this is me. There's some guys at work where they're just failing to perform because at home they're dramas. What does he have to do? He's got to bite the bullet and say, where have I lost the plot? Where have I lost the plot?
Yeah, to me that's just it.
He has to figure out, where did I lose the plot? If he then says, no, I didn't lose it, I did everything, she's the one that...
He's lying.
Then he has to go to and say, you know what? You had a problem. Then she will lose it because women lose it. Yes,
all the time.
Then she will tell him some truth. And then he's got to accept it. Oh, snap. But the thing is, we're in a society now that does not condone, does not promote, that does not excite or ignite people to think rationally in that sort of thing. Then what are you going to do? They're going to get psychologists, to get to an...
there's some minds with psychologists right now.
To work at the mind, and say, talk about what you're going through.
That ain't going to work.
He's not going to talk about it.
No, he's not.
Within himself, he's going to feel as though he's let himself down.
Yeah.
Before he's going to talk about what is bothering him.
Yeah.
And my recommendation is present an environment, an activity that just gets people doing stuff. Choirs have boot camps where they go out for like a weekend. The whole choir team is there. What is it doing? It's making them become a cohesive unit when they're having their concert or whatever it is. Everybody knows what everybody else should do. You have to retreat, company retreats. The retreat is just for people just to detox. What do some families do? Let's go on holiday. Why are we going on holiday? Because you know what? There's no work. There are no emails flying through that need to do something now because you're away. If you're going to be out of the country, you do not activate WhatsApp, although it's quite difficult. But you're just away. Why? Because it gives you a place and time of zen where you can just look at yourself in retrospect. Oh, snap. What should we do next? What can we do next? And because most men hate asking themselves, what should we do next? Because society has conditioned them, you must know. Big boys don't cry. And so dropping the bag is critical to have a place of security. It's critical to have a place where you can feel free to be vulnerable and not be castigated for being vulnerable. And when you meet that person you're vulnerable to tomorrow, they will address you knowing that you have shared with them, but they'll address you to prop you up for the following day. But most of the time, you ask why can't they do to the significant other or their spouse? It's because most of the time, when they confess to the spouse or when they reveal themselves to the spouse, have I done it again?
Yes, you have.
Oh, snap. when they reveal themselves to the spouse reminds them that they were failing.
Yeah.
And so they don't remind them in a way that says, hey, you failed, but let's go, let's keep going. They remind them that you failed. Full stop. So all you hear, your interpretation is you're a failure.
Yeah.
And so you keep the bags to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you no longer drop the bag. And so what you do, some people have places where they drop the bags. For me, it's easier. Yeah. Found a place of security, found a place to drive, no video ever. Found a place to drive. I like to drive. I found a place of zen.
You cycle?
I cycle, boss. It's fantastic. I cycle early in the morning. It's just freedom, and as you're riding the road, and because it's mountain bike and I can go off-road a bit.
Yeah.
Everything is just flowing, boss. You just undulating roads, uphill, downhill. You just, and there's sometimes when you don't do things because you want to think. You do things because you just de-stress. And I found when I come back, hey, and I do it early in the morning.
Clarity.
And I haven't been thinking about those things. I just fire away. And when I finish riding, when I'm firing away is when I'm dressing up and I'm going to start the car. The moment the car starts, we're on. You know what I mean? And so people need to find that, but some people can't do that. So what do? Let's go and just find the bottom of the bottle, find the end of a cigarette.
So recap, 3 things that
I was going there, isn't it?
Yes, you were. So I want to recap so that they know, because I want to shut it down, because I don't want people to
we're not coming back to this again.
No, we're not. So what is the one thing that you should do to drop your bag?
The one thing you need to do to drop your bag is find a place of security.
Okay. That's number one.
That's number one.
Okay.
Emotional security. Not just mental, emotional security. Yeah.
So this could include even having interventions and everything else.
One time.
Yeah. 2?
2 what? The third thing to do.
Yeah, what's the other thing?
After finding security.
After finding security, that's it.
What's more?
Once you find security, that's it.
That's it.
Nothing else.
That's it.
You'll be okay.
Do you know why?
Why?
Do you know the thing? We did it once in the youth group, where you stand on a table.
The trust fall.
Yeah, the trust fall.
Okay, so that's it.
What happens when you do the thing and people catch you?
You feel relieved.
You're like, that was so. I was feeling so scared.
So that's your trust fall.
Yes, that's your security. Yeah. So when you find a place of security, and you drop your bags, because you find a place of security, you become like Samson. You find a place to rest. You say whatever's on your heart.
Just as long as you got the right partner.
That's it.
Samson didn't have the right partner.
Look, that's subject to debate.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a wrap.
Because Nokia today reset has to be HTC, then reset is iPhone, then phone.
So that is minus. We're good to go. We have minus.
I'm just fed up.